Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, scholars and dignitaries, welcome to another episode. Welcome to my world. Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, just think, if we could join the Monster Kaiju universe with the professional wrestling universe, there would be one and only one match that I'd happily pay to see, and that would be billed as a grudge match of all times. In this corner, weighing in at 520 pounds, or up to 700 pounds depending, is Andre the Giant, the World Wrestling Champion icon who after hundreds of bouts remained undefeated in the wrestling world. And in this corner, weighing in at a head-spinning 163,772 tons, stands the legendary, the one and only, the king of all kaiju, Godzilla. Now, I know what you're thinking. Godzilla has a distinct advantage, his height, right? So he's a definite to win any wrestling match, right? Well, let's take a closer look at this and just remember that in the monster science fiction genre, anything can happen. Godzilla, if you didn't know, is an enormous, destructive, prehistoric sea monster, the last of the Godzillasaurus species that was awakened and empowered and strengthened by nuclear radiation from an underwater atomic bomb explosion, which again only goes to show, don't play with atomic bombs underwater. You have no idea what you might wake up or what may mutate. Godzilla is a kaiju. To the Japanese, this means a giant monster, and Godzilla is king of the monsters, and he's still going strong, and actually has evolved and become man's friend, and helps mankind when we're having trouble with other monsters. So when the military gets into trouble, who do they call? Godzilla. So that brings us to one of our own, Andre the Giant. Andre was a legend. He was a professional wrestler, or as my grandfather called them, wrestlers, who was known and loved all over the world. Andrei Rosimov was born in France in 1946, and unfortunately for his millions of fans, he passed in 1993. Andre was known as a giant because of his enormous size as a result of a condition called giganticism, caused by an excess in a growth hormone. Because of this, he was often called the eighth wonder of the world. Andre was a fan favorite and became a pop icon in both the wrestling world and for his films and television appearances as well, because in large part of his personality. He was a gentle giant, a humble man who loved people and treated everyone kindly and with the greatest respect. As a youth, he worked on the family farm, and that helped build his stature and muscle mass, and according to his brother, he could easily do the work of three men. A local wrestling promoter, Aubert Lagier, took interest in him and began to teach him wrestling when he was 18. He began his wrestling career in France and soon wrestled in the United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, Africa, and then Japan, Canada, and then was introduced into the United States. He wrestled until 1992 all around the world, and his wrestling record is without parallel, and he was the first inductee into the World Wrestling Federation's Hall of Fame, and then into the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame as well. Well, let's take a look at some of the other characteristics between our two opponents. Andre the Giant, height, 7 foot, 4 inches tall. Godzilla, 393 feet tall, but he has a total span length of 550 feet. Weight, Andre the Giant, somewhere between 550 and 700 pounds. Godzilla, 163,772 tons. Lifespan and experience, Andre the Giant passed at 47 years old. Godzilla, 2,000 years old. Definitely, Godzilla has more experience and would be given a plus in this category. Strength. Andre the Giant was said to have picked up small cars. He was shown lifting 2,000 pounds. Godzilla definitely has strength and has picked up other monsters, so the upper strength limits really are unknown. And here is when it starts to get interesting. Andre the Giant actually has tremendous upper body mass. He has a 71-inch chest, 21-inch biceps, 17-inch forearms, and his hands actually measures 16 inches. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because he has particular wrestling moves that Godzilla doesn't have and can't make, and he has the upper body strength for these moves. And now, if we take a look at their past matches, we'll see that their records are pretty even. Andre the Giant remained undefeated. In his career, he's battled hundreds of foes, including at SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Saturday Night's Main Event, the Survivor Series, and even in the Battle Royales and cage matches. He wrestled the Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, Killer Khan, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jake the Snake, and he had ongoing feuds with King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd, and even Hulk Hogan. And of course, Godzilla has remained undefeated. Godzilla's enemies were classic as well. There was Anguirus, Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, Mecha-godzilla, so many others. And there was even a movie called All Monsters Attack. And of course, I'd be negligent if I didn't comment on Godzilla's most famous enemy, King Kong, in the movie King Kong versus Godzilla. So for their past matches, they are pretty even and both remained undefeated. And that brings us to their special fighting abilities. Andre the Giant was an experienced wrestler and he had several trademark moves. He had a sleeper hold around the neck, and if he could get his large arms and hands around Godzilla's neck, he might have been able to put Godzilla to sleep. He had a pile driver move that usually made people submit and give up. He had a butterfly suplex. He had an elbow drop. He even had a running elbow drop. Or he would just pick you up and throw you out of the ring. And Andre had more speed and flexibility than Godzilla, who was a little slower and more cumbersome. Now, Godzilla, again, had the size and the strength, but otherwise he had only one special and formidable power, the atomic breath. And that certainly would be a great advantage and hard to overcome in any wrestling match. So, where does that take us? Well, of course, as presented, there is no doubt that Godzilla would reign king of this match, mostly because of size and power. But again, this isn't boxing, and it isn't mixed martial arts. It's old fashioned wrestling, and all Andre the Giant would have to do is to knock Godzilla over and pin him for 3 seconds. Not knock him out, not hurt him, but remember, in wrestling, all you have to do is to pin your opponent for 3 seconds. Can it be done? Well, certainly if Andre the Giant was able to grow taller using some high tech invention, and I guess that's what I'm saying. If the sizes were equal, then absolutely this would be the wrestling match of the 21st century. This would be two spectacular warriors, once and for all, vying for the title of King of the Ring. And well, who knows what would have happened? One good drop kick, one good sleeper hold, and Andre the Giant just might have been able to pin Godzilla for 3 seconds and claim the title of King of the Ring. Who knows? Hey, be safe, be well, and God bless.